Hang out now with our buddy from HoopDoctors.com. Talk some more NBA Finals with Kevin Burke. Hey, bud.
Harry Ford. How are
Hey,
you?
brother. Well, hey. Every now and then I get one right. Doesn't happen much.
Yeah.
How about that? And, dude, I'm going to tell you what. I ain't going to lie to you, bro. Typically, again, whatever. I don't come in here and root for teams or get all crazy about stuff. Usually we try to just call it as we see it. But I love watching the Mavs win, and here's why. Half their team has my vertical leap and my athleticism. They play basketball below the rim like Terry Ford does now in his old age with one good ankle. They pass the ball, they cut, they move without the ball, they use the backboard, they lay up, finger roll, up and unders, pump fakes. It's my game, man.
Yeah. Yeah, they played team ball. They certainly did. But if I was to ask you or anyone else through 1.5 games, who's going to win this series? I thought they were going to sweep. Last week I said stick a fork in them on your show. I was a little wrong, I guess, but a lot of change in 1 week. I'm just not sure what happened. As far as the Heat goes, from the third quarter on in Game 2 till last night. Not sure what happened, but all credit in the world due to the Dallas Mavericks. They did what they were supposed to do. They played team ball. Like you said, Dirk came out struggling, 1 of 12 first half. So who picks it up? Jason Terry. They took a 2-point halftime lead with Dirk shooting 1 of 12 with 4 points. If they don't deserve to win that game, then I don't know who does. But excellent. Dirk. Where's his legacy now? That's up for debate. He's solidified now as one of the greats with the ring, and the better team certainly won. The Heat have a lot of questions to answer heading into the offseason and next year.
And we'll stay with the Mavs first. Now, obviously, we'll get to all this LeBron garbage here in a minute.
Yeah.
Kevin Burke, HoopDoctors.com, Sports 630 KIDO, Terry Ford Show. And when you look at the way Dallas did this thing, and again, you have one elite player in Dirk. And see, here's the thing with Nowitzki, is it's so funny how the ring changes everything, but it's not just the ring, it's the way he played through the whole postseason, and the fact that he was dogged in 2006 for what he didn't do in the finals. Then 2007 when the Mavs got punked by the Warriors. That alone should have banned them from the NBA for 2 years, by the way.
Yeah, seriously, yep.
And then you see what he did in this postseason, and how he went, okay, everybody, on my back, let's roll. And the way he carried this squad. And, everything changes. It's almost like, okay, this guy that we basically shut the door on and put the coffin, basically, dude, we put him in the coffin. We lowered him. We covered him with dirt. We parked the car over the funeral spot, and we moved on thinking this guy's never coming back. So now that we've learned that and seen this guy and where he's at, now we're going to do the same thing to LeBron James. We never learn, do we? We never learn.
Mm-hmm. I caught myself today doing that because last year I was very guilty as charged. I wrote an article after the Mavericks lost in the first round to the Blazers, kind of just saying that I don't think Dirk has what it takes to lead a team, to the championship. That was more or less the premise of the article, and I had to eat my words with the "I'm sorry, Dirk" article today. I had no problems doing that. But absolutely, a championship, it means a lot. Sometimes it can be overstated. Sometimes people tend to think that because you won a championship, you're great, which is not always the case. You can be great and not win one, but just because you won one doesn't mean you're great. He's rare that he has both of them. He's great, and he won a championship ring. So, yeah, I wrote him off after what I saw last year. 07, 06 and 07 they were bad, especially 07. They were the number one seed. They won 67 games. He was the MVP. When have you ever seen an MVP not receive the trophy? They usually get it the first or second game in the second round. Because they're eliminated in the first round, I don't know what they do, UPS or FedEx the trophy to his house. We never saw him accept it. I've never seen that happen before. So that was a bad showing. He certainly exercised those demons. I was happy for him. I was really happy for him. He was classy throughout the entire thing. He left to go, cry, which I actually love to see. I have no problems with that. And the fact that he had admitted it, I left to go cry. Wow, that's a novelty.
I know.
Your guys own up to that. Good for Dirk, man. Really good for Dirk.
And really, I was the same way about it. It's one of those stories, and it's so weird, Kev, that we sit here, and I never go into this whole dramatic, hype up crap. But you had this great story in Dallas of, this guy like in Dirk Nowitzki who failed so miserably, on the big stage in 2006 and 2007. And then you get this guy, and then the flip side is you've got this LeBron James and the Jason Terry too, because Jason Terry had to live all that crap. And so did Cuban and all that. And then the flip side is you have got the Dallas Mavericks, the Miami Heat, who no one likes outside of Miami.
Right.
And now you sit and go, okay, we've got such a 180, and you go to LeBron James. And like everything we do, everything is always got to be over the top anymore. Look, did LeBron James wet himself in this series in the fourth quarter? No doubt. Did LeBron James look like Dwayne Wade was his daddy? No doubt. Did LeBron James shrink? We were talking about earlier. I said it was like Shaggy and Scooby hiding from a ghost. Under the bed, shaking and shivering. That was LeBron in the fourth quarter. So did he do all those things? Yeah, sure, definitely. But then you get these people. Well, that's his legacy. He's 26 or 27 years old.
Right.
Good God.
He's 26. I mean, Mike. I mean, not to compare him to Mike, but just to kind of use him as the benchmark as he has, unilaterally become. He was 28 when he won his first championship. I mean, LeBron's 26. I mean, and Dan Gilbert. I mean, geez, oh my goodness.
Go away, Dan.
Please just go ahead and just never come back. Please. I mean, if we need to just take Twitter if you can ban somebody from Twitter, let's do that with Dan Gilbert. But I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, his tweet was kind of like, "I told you so." Well, he's been there 1 year. Everybody, he's been there 1 year. This is not like their fifth year or sixth year together. It was their first year. They're ahead of schedule. They didn't play over their heads, but they're ahead of schedule. I mean, who thought they'd be, up 2-1 in the finals this year, going back to the day LeBron said I'm going to South Beach? Nobody. I mean, we knew they'd make the playoffs, maybe give it, a nice go in the first round, second round, but to be just, 2 games away from a championship, they're ahead of schedule. I mean, they've got a bright future. I mean, I'm sure it stings and it's really upsetting, but I mean, he's gonna be back. I mean, he's 20. So, I mean, how much ball does this guy have left in his body? I mean, give me a break. He'll be back. Let's not be prisoners of the moment. His legacy hasn't even the preamble of his legacy hasn't even been written yet. So let's just calm down a little bit.
Yeah, Kevin Burke, HoopDoctors.com, Sports 630 KIDO, KDM.com, Terry Ford Show, and I'm with you, man. That's where I'm at on this whole deal. I just sit here and I go, this guy is so young, and he's grown up in the NBA, and I'm not making excuses for him because I think there's a couple things about him, Kevin. First of all, on the court, and this is something you and I talked about last year, and now he's in his 8th year. So all of a sudden we want to go, well, sooner or later he's got to do these things. Like he's got to learn how to post up. He's got to learn how to, consistently hit an intermediate jumper or a three-pointer. He's got to learn how to move without the ball and cut the lane and make things easier for himself. His game, Dallas took away what he wanted to do, and that was it. And what LeBron has to do is walk over to Dirk Nowitzki and go, hey, dude, can you tell me how you got so much better over the last 3, 4, 5 years and tell me how I can do this? Or go to Michael Jordan. When you came to the NBA, dude, all you could do was dunk and jump and play defense. So can you help me? Because I think that's where LeBron's at the crossroads, Kev. It's like his game on the court's got to get better, but off the court, he's got to hit mental puberty and be a man. Do your press conferences alone. Not with your big brother, and take this hate that's being directed at you and don't give some kind of goofy, idiotic answer at a press conference. Take that hate, go in the gym all summer, use as motivation, and come back with that killer instinct that a Michael Jordan or a Kobe have.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, especially off the court. I mean, his to your point, his post-game conference, it came out wrong. I'm not a LeBron apologist. Everyone seems to think he said, I'm rich, you're not, go back to your job, at McDonald's. That's not what he said. I think what he meant was, the season's over, the Heat are eliminated. Now there's nothing else for you guys to hate. You got to pick something else to hate. So that's what I took away from it. But it came across wrong because I don't think he's the best communicator in the world. But then, just stop talking. Somebody in his camp has to tell him, just kind of channel that and put that in your back pocket and just use that as motivation. Like almost like to your point again, Magic Johnson last night said, hey, after 84, they called me Tragic Magic because I lost the finals for the Lakers. I was in the gym all summer, came back, we won the championship the next year. That's what he has to do. And going back to what you're saying about the game, yes, the Mavericks certainly made adjustments after Game 2, I believe it was. But even more so than that, I'm still waiting for an answer from him, and I haven't heard it. He just stopped playing to a certain degree. I'm not going to say he quit. I mean, the one good he just wasn't aggressive. The one good thing about his play or lack thereof in this series what it does, it puts to bed the theory that he quit in Cleveland. So that's dead forever, unless you're telling me he quit in Miami because he wants out of, he wants to be traded from the Heat. So I think that puts that theory to bed. But he just became passive. He wasn't always double teamed. In the instances where he was single team, he was looking for Udonis Haslem and Mario Chalmers. He just stopped playing to a certain degree. He was passive, and for the life of me, I can't figure it out. After Game 5, he says, I got to find a way to get myself into the offense. This is Game 5 of the finals. You're going to figure out how to get into the offense now. And last night he also said, sometimes you got it, sometimes you don't. That's not a good enough answer from a guy of your caliber. We need something else. 8 points, 17 points, 21 points, respectively, in the final 3 games of the finals. You're LeBron James. That is not enough. So credit Dallas, absolutely, but to a certain degree, he was not himself, and I don't know why. I think the lights were too bright, and I'm very shocked and disappointed that one of the best seasons since Michael Jordan gave Brian Russell a little shove ended on such a sour note. And I'm not even a Heat fan, just an NBA fan. It just ended terribly that way.
Kevin Burke, HoopDoctors.com, Sports 630 KIDO, KDM.com, Terry Ford Show. And I was surprised because, LeBron has been on this stage before when Cleveland got, curb stomped by San Antonio. So you figure a guy who has been on this stage before wouldn't have these issues. And that's what stunned me too, Kev. That really, if you asked me one thing going into this series and you said LeBron James is going to basically whiz on himself in the fourth quarter in crunch time and be a wallflower and a non-factor, I'd be like, huh? What?
Yeah.
And to stand there and he'd rather pass the ball to Mario Chalmers and make a play, I'd be like, you're sick. There's no way this goes on. And the other thing about the LeBron issue kind of gives Eric Estrada a free pass here. Oh, Eric Spoelstra didn't, win any coaching awards in this series.
Right. No, absolutely. Dirk had 2 fouls in the first quarter. So when he comes back, I'm thinking, okay, whoever's has Dirk guarding them, give them the ball. They're going to play for them. Take it to Dirk's chest because as great as Dirk is, he is a horrendous defender. He's as bad a defender as he is a good offensive player. And I think more attention needs to be paid to how bad he is on the defensive end. But that's another topic for another show. But take it to his chest. He did not exploit at all the fact that the guy had 2 fouls. Say Udonis Haslem was on him. You're not going to run plays for Udonis Haslem. Okay, give the ball to LeBron James. Run a high switch. It's easy to get somebody to switch off if you want them to. It's very easy. The defense has no choice but to react. Do that and take it to Dirk's chest, and he's gonna draw a foul because he's not a good defender. He didn't do. That's just one example. And that's just a microcosm of his deficiencies as a coach. He never did anything like that. Why was Mike Bibby starting for so long? Chalmers finally starts. I'm not sure if James Jones said bad things about Eric Spoelstra's mother. Where was he? Why was Eddie House in the game for so long? He's a terrible defender. His sporadic threes don't justify him being on the floor that long, given his defensive deficiencies as well. On and on and on. You and I said on this show a few months ago, I think anything short of a championship, and he's gone. And I kind of still feel that way, but given the fact that LeBron kind of wet the bed, maybe that saves his job.
Oh, I think it does, because if not, we'd be talking about, let's see, Rick Carlisle put in J.J. Barea, which changed the series. Rick Carlisle looked at Peja Stojakovic and said, dude, you can do one thing, and you ain't doing it. Where's the custodian? Come here. Where's the custodian? He had no problem. He looked at Sean Stevenson, hey, neck tattoo, come here a minute. You're going to sit on the bench. Bro, he made these moves. J.J. Barea, I know he couldn't be the MVP, but I tell you what, if you did that whole hockey thing, the 3 stars of the series, you got Dirk, you got Terry, you got J.J. Barea.
Yep. Or if they give out two most improved player of the year awards, Kevin Love's going to keep yours. Cut that. Or if you give out one for the playoffs, he deserves it. Where did this guy come from? Played excellently. Him and Jason Terry were, they were phenomenal. Him and Jason Terry. The perfect compliment. Given the fact they even lost Caron Butler, the number 2 scorer, 15 points a game. You can't say enough about Dallas. And Barea, he just had his way, especially when you have somebody like Eddie House guarding him.
Kevin Burke, HoopDoctors.com. Okay, we got through all that. We got through the finals, the Heat win. Goofy Mark Cuban gets his trophy, which, by the way, and I didn't think of this. Old producer Dan said, do you think Cuban had, the original owner, Don Carter, take it because Cuban didn't want to take the award from David Stern?
Absolutely. No question about it.
And I want to
Absolutely.
and I'll very rarely give Dan credit for anything because it breaks me out in hives. But he said that to me, and I go, dude, I never thought of that.
Absolutely.
I said, I didn't even think of that.
They loathe one another.
How funny is it?
When one of them are asked about the other in an interview, there's some sort of sarcastic comment or there's a no comment, which speaks volumes as well. No question at all. He did not want anything that had David Stern's fingerprints on it being handed to him. So I completely agree with Dan right there.
Well, how weird do you feel? You just agreed with Dan. You going to be okay?
I think so. I'll rebound.
Hey, now next week we can talk about the NBA draft and the lockout. Mm-hmm. So get ready.
Yeah, a lot to talk about the lockout. So I'm looking forward to it, man.
All right, pal. We'll see you. Have a good week.
All right. Take care,
Kevin Burke, HoopDoctors.com, Sports 630 KIDO, KDM.com.